What's up everybody? On today's video we're going to talk about the top 10 best places to buy land in the Sunshine State, Florida. With increasing home costs, a lot of people are looking to just buy the land so that in the future they can build their dreams, while other people are investors but they don't know exactly where they want to put their money in the Sunshine State. Buying land can make you a crap load of money, but it can also be one of the absolute worst investments you could ever make. It's like a roller coaster ride. And Florida is one of the most volatile and speculative markets out there. Therefore, you can really make huge profits or you can take massive losses. And if you're not ready for that, then Florida may not be the place for you to invest. It is a high risk, high stakes type of place where there's as many winners as there are losers. Many people who bought in 2005 are just now being able to dump the properties for less than half what they paid during that bubble, during this bubble. It means if you're not willing to take massive losses, this is really not a market you want to get into. Currently, people are selling lots for twice what they paid, not 2 years ago, not 1 year ago, but 4 months ago. So if you're thinking that you're going to buy real estate in Florida, buy some land and make huge profits, you may want to rethink your strategy. While many people think that the waves of New Yorkers and other people coming to Florida to buy and invest is a new thing, it's actually part of the economical system here. It's been going on for decades. It's nothing new. While many people think that the waves of New Yorkers and other people coming to Florida to buy and invest is a new thing, it's actually part of the economical system here. It's been going on for decades. It's nothing new. While it was hard to find analytical information about this, the only difference I suspect is that the people moving to Florida now are a little bit younger. There are people way too young to be thinking about retirement, and the fundamentals of the economy in Florida are messed up. The job opportunities, the job growth are not lining up with the real estate appreciation, and it is unclear how these people that are coming to Florida are going to be able in the long term to support their lifestyles and the amount of debt they're taking on. To understand what happened to Killer, you gotta understand who Killer was. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of people holding on to property in Florida because one day they plan to retire, just as there are investors from out of the country who are very speculative when they're buying in Florida. You have people who are buying land and then flipping it right away for as much as twice what they paid for it. You have developers who are waiting for customers to build houses on those lots. You have people who buy an empty lot to make sure a house doesn't get built directly next to them or so they can use adjacent land. These people are very unlikely to sell the lot unless they sell their homes. And then you have people who are just buying land in Florida sight unseen because they think it's a good investment and they have absolutely no idea what they're doing. Some of them are just entering the market now for the first time and they think they're going to make a huge profit. Some of them will, while others have been waiting since 2005 to be able to dump the properties when they did the same exact thing you're doing many years ago. I recently purchased land here in Florida and it is one of the top 10 places on this list. And I will tell you, it is very hard to know where land will appreciate, and it's even harder to know what the market will do in the next weeks, months, or years, especially considering how crazy the world has been lately. So there's no real mathematical equation to this top 10 list. It's just the places that I would personally invest into. And depending on what your strategy is, will depend which one of these places is best fitted for you. I bought land in Florida for the absolute long haul. In other words, the day that I get older and I need to retire in Florida, that I don't have to join a very competitive real estate market to buy land or a home, knowing that prices will probably keep increasing over time in Florida. Is it going to happen overnight? Probably not. Florida has a lot of stuff it needs to work on. There's a lot of deficiencies here. However, in the long haul, over many decades, the weather in Florida is different than the rest of the country, and a lot of people are going to need to retire here. And when I'm ready for that step, I don't want to pay $500,000 for a piece of land. And I would advise young people who are from Florida to go ahead and get their hands on a piece of real estate, even if it's a $10,000 or $15,000 investment, just so they know that one day they have somewhere to go to when they're ready to settle back in Florida. Because there's no telling what will happen in the future. A lot of millennials and young people like myself are really wondering how the crap we're going to be able to afford anything at all with these increasing prices. one way to get started is to at least secure a piece of land. It's an investment, and it's a little bit of self-pride in knowing the little piece of the dream that you want to build in the future is already in your hands. Number 10 is the Golden Gate Estates. Most of the time, Golden Gate Estates has been towards the top of my list. However, with appreciation in Collier County, I cannot put it towards the top of my list because it may actually be a very, very overpriced and overvalued market, and I don't want you to put your money into that. However, if you know you actually are going to build a house in Florida in the next 5 to 10 years, then this should be on the top of your list of places you want. A lot of these places have cypress trees. Those are the lots you want to avoid. Now, it's called rural estates on Google Maps now, but the locals know it as the Golden Gate Estates. It is a huge chunk of inland Collier County, Florida, with red tide and hurricanes and many other complications. Being a little further inland is actually a great thing nowadays. Wildfires are a huge concern that has scared a lot of people towards the western side of the rural estates. Environmental concerns and uncontrolled growth in areas that are sensitive ecologically has also made a lot of people worry about this area, so there's a lot you have to contend with, as well as a county with extremely strict building regulations. So if you just need a place that's affordable and more relaxed, number 9 is for you. Bronson, Florida is right outside of Williston. This area is one of the most affordable places in the entire state where you can buy land for incredible prices. It's not going to develop anytime soon. There's not a lot of growth. There's not a lot of construction here. So the lots are really cheap right now. If you can get a lot that's at least on a paved road and that's wooded and there's not too much regulations, the county's not going to come and tell you to mow the grass. You can kind of do whatever you want. As long as your neighbors don't snitch you out, this is a great place where you can have a lot of freedom. The building codes are not as strict as in South Florida. And most importantly, it is super affordable. So if you're just getting into investing in land and you don't want to make a massive investment, this is a great starting point for you. Sometimes the most affordable places is where the crunch happens, and they can actually be really good investments in the long run. You can turn a little bit into a whole lot by investing into an area that's not as desirable and doesn't require those massive investments initially. Number 8 is Cape Coral, Florida. If you're looking for a more formal investment, this is a great place to go. There's a lot of formality with investing here. The city of Cape Coral is managed individually from the county of Lee, which it sits on, and it has a lot of regulations, not only from how you have to maintain your lot, mow the lawn, and they do have a program that's part of the city. In other words, you can invest from somewhere else and know that your property in Florida is being taken care of by the county through their programs. It's a city that has a lot of taxes, a lot of regulations, and a lot of formality. I personally don't like that type of investment, but a lot of people are looking for that. It's almost like a miniature New York City with regulations, rules, and things you can and cannot do. All these regulations and formalities on investing here and the requirements have led to very high real estate prices, as many people do assume that this will create a much better city in the future. Well, so if you believe in high overhead, high maintenance, high taxes, and over-regulation, and how that could affect the future growth of the city in a positive way, then Cape Coral is a place you want to look into. Number 7, Rotonda West. This little area is fairly underdeveloped. There's a lot of empty lots here, and the prices make sense. There seems to be an HOA, but it's not ridiculous. Whether in Rotonda West, Rotonda Lakes, or any of the adjacent areas like Englewood, this is a great little area to watch. You can get right now for $20,000 a nice lot here, good size, even cleared sometimes. It's a great investment, it's not overly valued, and there's a lot of potential for growth. Many of the homes that are being built here are a little bit on the bigger side. So if you believe that the value of your land is relative to adjacent properties, big homes with pools next door, let's say, then this is a great place to put your money. Nearby are incredible beaches, there's canals if you like fishing. It's relatively undiscovered. There's not as much economical activity and commercial investment as there are in other parts of Southwest Florida. Most likely, whoever buys these homes will be somebody who's going to retire in the future. Not a bad investment. Number 6 is Northport, Florida. Now, Northport has great areas to invest, and it has bad areas to invest, and that could probably be said about all these towns on this list. I recently purchased a piece of land in Florida, and there's another piece of land less than a few houses away, And just because it's on a different street, I'm not attracted to it. Now, different investors have different ideas on what they consider attractive and what they consider don't. And Northport offers a lot of possibilities. It's a pretty large area extending from the Gulf as far inland as some rural parts, and you just have to know exactly where you want to be. I personally like the part north of 75 because it's nice and rural. Most people are avoiding that area and they're putting their homes in the central part of the city that looks kind of like what we're seeing here. So as we know, a lot of it's going to depend on you, the investor, what you're looking for. Real estate prices here for the most part are very reasonable when it comes to empty lots. And the area draws a mix of people from commuters to retirees. A lot of these places like Northport and Lehigh Acres, some of the worst parts actually draw the highest real estate prices, as some people believe that's just being closer to a highway exit or a main route is more important than having a nice quiet area. So hey, everybody looks for something different. Number 5 is Dunedin, Florida, where the beautiful Rainbow River is. One of my favorite places in Florida. Prices here are still affordable on land. Does that mean every little piece of land in Dunedin is incredible? There's a rougher spot, there's a better spot. That's something you personally have to look into. But I do like the Dunedin area. It's a great place to invest overall. Beautiful area, lots of nature. It still isn't as developed as other parts of Florida. It's a tourist destination, it's a retirement destination, and there's a lot of fun stuff to do. I absolutely love the city of Dunedin. And by the way, in the city of Dunedin, you're actually allowed to have commercial businesses out of residential neighborhoods. There's a lot going on here, and you may find exactly what you need in this area. Acreage in particular is still affordable, and if you can get land directly on the Rainbow River, that's an incredible investment as well, I believe. There's a lot of land in Florida, but what there isn't is water. Water leads to a lot of appreciation. Unfortunately, a lot of places like Marco Island, Sanibel, Fort Myers Beach, places that are directly adjacent to the water, that's their value, and these places are really crunched and they're very overvalued, but they're also great investments for appreciation. Number 4 is Punta Gorda. When people think about Florida, they think about water access. Punta Gorda has that. It is more expensive, and there's a lot of great places, like I said, Marco Island, for example, where the lots get into like the hundreds of thousands of dollars, and there's probably a lot of potential for appreciation there because, like I said, access to the water is really limited. Punta Gorda is kind of like a middle point, and that's why it's on this list. It's got a great location between Southwest Florida and Tampa. It's kind of like right in the middle of everything. When you look at the west coast of Florida, there's a lot of work, so if you're thinking about still being in retirement but kind of still working, there's a lot of opportunity in the middle. It is a fairly boring place, and it's known for having some of the lowest crime rates in the country. Within city limits, there's not too much land left. It's a really small area geographically. Once you step outside of the city limits, yeah, there's adjacent areas, of course, but within the city, it's a great place to invest because the real estate prices are really high, which means the houses that are being built on these lots are incredibly massive. Great potential for appreciation. Number 3 is Lehigh Acres, Florida. I have put this town on my worst list, and I have trolled and hated on this town for a long time, but the construction has not stopped. However, there's still a lot of empty lots left here, and it is unclear how many decades it will take for this place to fully be complete and lot prices to really go up because demand and supply, there's a lot of demand, but there's even more supply. It's a massive area. Basically, that entire triangle you can see there on the map, all that is Lehigh Acres. It's absolutely massive. The southwest side of the city has the highest crime rate. However, because it's closer to Fort Myers, it just keeps growing. So there's more and more houses being built and more undesirable neighborhoods. This place is seriously lacking investment. We're talking about like a Perkins and like a Culver's is the only like big brand names you're going to see in this city. Now there's a lot of great mom and pop Cuban places. Lots of Cubans, lots of Dominicans and Puerto Ricans. It's got a lot of diversity, which means there's a lot of great mom and pop restaurants here, which I really enjoy. But the best part about Lehigh is that you can still get really affordable lots because there's so much supply. And the more affordable lots are kind of further out, which is where I would personally want to build my home. I think it's got a lot of potential. The area does need investment, and Lehigh is definitely on the come up. It's changing for the better. Number 2 is Citrus Springs, Florida. This is right outside of Dunedin, and in a sense, it's kind of like the Lehigh Acres of Citrus County. A lot of investors have shied away from Citrus Springs because they believe in the future there's going to be a lot of Section 8 housing here. I personally like the place. You can find lots for under $10,000 right now. It's beautiful. Hey, make sure you subscribe. We put a lot of work into these videos for you guys. You guys have no idea. I love Citrus Springs. I know it's not the greatest place. There's a lot of drug use in the area. It has its undesirable qualities, but the beautiful pine trees and landscapes and hilly terrain out here, they are building nice houses. And the area adjacent to Pine Ridge is really beautiful, big houses in there. This is a place that may be affordable today, but it's unclear how long it's going to be affordable for. I've always had great things to say about Citrus County. Central Florida is growing tremendously fast, and quiet and rural places that are affordable are getting harder to find every single day. There is an HOA here. It's very little, and some people don't even pay it. So is there an HOA? I don't even know how that works. Number 1 is Buckingham, Florida. Located right outside of Fort Myers, this place cannot stop growing. They're building houses like on almost every single street, listing right now from $350,000 to $400,000. And those are the smaller lots. There's actually bigger lots that demand more money. It's far enough inland where you don't have to worry about direct hurricane damage. You also don't have to worry about adjacent problems with the red tide because it's a little bit further inland. You can be in Fort Myers in 15 minutes. It's really country out here. There's actually cow pastures in some places. In the early 1900s, there was a pirate who would raid ships passing along the Caloosahatchee River, and this is one of the places where he would hide out, so there's a little bit of interesting history there. They're like a band of bank robbers as well. They're all kind of ganged up here, so really cool country history there. It's a great place to invest. Many of the bigger homes are buying up the adjacent lots so that they can have more land and make sure they don't get neighbors next door. Seems like a really relaxed, cool community right outside of Fort Myers. It's got the country feel, but then you're also right in the middle of this metro area. Definitely number 1 on my list.